Hello and welcome to our KSP Career episode. This will be a build episode and I am gonna build the probe carrier that will be carrying, well, probe and one relay satellite to Duna and Eve. Who knows, maybe even Joule. But in order to do that, I first want to be building a relay satellite that will be able to, relay the information, because I'm now looking here at antennas, and the only antenna that I can muster that would have the range and the capability to relay data to and from Duna and to and from Eve, and maybe even Joule, is these big Goldie relays. None other have, capacity. Well, few others have maybe up to 25 gigameters, but that's, Duna on a good day. Duna on a bad day, from what I understand, can be up to 35 gigameters, in which case we don't have enough. These relays can actually go up to 75 gigameters, which means they should have more than enough oomph to actually reach Duna and Eve. Right. So with that thing being said, as I said, this will be a small relay satellite that will be in orbit of, I don't know, Duna and Eve and whatnot, and be hopefully relaying all that information. Oh, we have clipping. Yeah, I'm gonna just put two thrusters like this and not have the clipping, please. Thank you. I have put a lot of batteries because I'm intending to be able to relay a lot of information. All the science experiments and whatnot need to be relayed through here. And when they come in burst data traffic, well, you kind of get the point, right? So, satellite Duna relay Mark 1. So as you can see, we have two large relays and one omni antenna that will be able to pick up the data from the lander. So this is satellite Duna relay. Easy, simple, right? All right, that's thing resolved, and it will be able to even, I guess, reach Joule. Who knows? Then we're gonna build the probe that will be carrying out the experiments. So first I detach the relay to be able to, relay the data, and then since we don't have a direct connection, we will be able bouncing off data of this relay satellite. So here I'm actually gonna be building the probe that will be doing all these experiments. So a couple of batteries, then we're gonna be placing some photovoltaic panels, maybe a capacitor even. I'm thinking like this. Yeah, there we go, hold on. All right. Something like this. I think this will be enough. One, this, puck antenna, and then we need the solar panels, of course. Then we need the antenna for sending these information out. I actually can do away with 2. I don't need 4. I'm doing 2 for symmetry reasons, And I'm trying to find a good, this communitron we will need, of course. And should I make it a lander, guys? Maybe I should make it a lander. Alright, let's first go and attach, some fuel tank, Terrier engine. That should give us plenty of oomph. You're talking 319 meters per second. It should be more. Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 4. Okay, so small, yes. Small parachute. Then we go with landing legs, because I'm expecting that this baby might even land on Duna and Eve. Who knows? If, the aerodynamic forces don't tear it to pieces, that is. Alright. Then let's place some, scientific measurements. So the Geiger counter, the barometer, the thermometer, all these wonderful things, they will be hopefully giving us science. Good. On this side we can actually put the mystery goo. I mean, why not? 1, as good as none, but still it's good that we get some science out of it. Hopefully we will. Now, let's see, the lights, they will be used for landing mainly, hopefully. Alright, lander, Duna, science, lander, probe. There we go. Alright, so this guy will be able to, just go willy-nilly on our asses. So the idea is that this will be the thing that will be landing on Duna. And Eve, perhaps. Now we want to do a decoupler, and then I want to do a big fairing Let's see, 2.5. No, this is Mothra. Let's take this. This is 1.875. I can actually get away with interstage nodes. And the reason why I want to go with interstage nodes because I want to be able to attach a decoupler here, and then I want to attach the relay satellite on top of it. So yeah, there we go. And I'm actually going with stack separator because when this stack separator departs, then the trusses will be hopefully gone as well. All right. So that actually should simplify things by a large margin. All right. So this is our payload. So now let's build the fairing. There we go. Look at it go. Looks peachy, doesn't it? Yeah. I actually like the design. So, that being said, let us now figure out what do we need to get it to actually go to Duna. So, yeah, hold on. Oh, I cannot detach you. Yeah, I need actually, yeah, I forgot about that part. Okay, let's put it one floor up. Yeah, we do need, you know, some sort of a control unit, of course. The reaction wheels, yes. Alright, so now I want to be placing some tank and an engine. Because this small stage should be going to Duna. This should be the interplanetary stage. Okay, let's see if we can put an engine. This is too big, this is too yappy. Okay, this one maybe. So how much in vacuum? 2,600 delta V. Well, that's not too shabby, is it? I guess we could roll with that. We have Marlin vacuum engine. Do we have any other? No, these cryo tanks are too small, sadly. Okay, I think I'm gonna roll with this guy and just, let's say, decoupler. So this will be going, actually this will be stopping around Duna because we don't have a heat shield, so we'll need to have a powered slowdown stage. Then we need let's say a bigger sort of, say, ascent slash transfer stage. So let's go with that one. I think I'm gonna be placing something like this. This is a little bit chubby. Alright. So, nope. This one. Oh my god, 403. 403. No, that's at vacuum. Okay. Let's place like this. Okay, so in vacuum, you'll have 3162 meters per second with 1.97 thrust to weight. Now we're talking 162 in vacuum. Okay, that's good enough. Then we'll need to check also delta V at, or sorry, not the thrust to weight at sea level. Let's just place these. There we go. Auto strut everything to the heaviest part. Now let's use the decouplers. I'm thinking here radial decouplers. Shall I go with 2 or 4? I'm thinking let's start with 2. Okay, these are almost as big as the main rocket. Okay, doke. Should I use any of the bigger... Okay, Pollux, this could be maybe used. 1.30. Yeah, I'm still looking at vacuum. I like the design, I'm just not that attached to it. I think I'm gonna use these guys. And of course the fuel lines. So I'm gonna be placing these guys so they all start together. Good. Cap on top. Fuel lines going in. Thank you. Let's rearrange the staging. Yeah, overall I'm happy with that design. I might actually take one tank more up. I'm just gonna disconnect the lot of you and I'm gonna reconnect you too because you never know, you know, Kraken might be watching, so... Now, those things being said, I'm thinking, should I go with 2 or 4? Now that's my main problem. So let's say, I want to have fins on these guys. There we go, much better. Yeah, let's go with white. Alright, so, okay, sea level, we have 204 at sea level. Wow, that's a lot. So, actually, let's put the launch clamps, but we have 4,700 meters per second. I guess it's more, should be more. However, I'm thinking maybe we should just, you know, I tend to over-engineer all of my bits, so once again, I'm thinking, should I go with 2 or 4? Maybe I should go with 4. because this is 6.5 thousand meters per second total. So according to the Kerbal engineer, so that should be fine. However, I am thinking, let's go with 4. Let's see how that will run. Okay, so we go with 4. Alright, that's now a much more serious rocket, I tell you that. Now, after all, we want to be going to Eve, we want to power brake, not, you know, going like the aero braking maneuver, because I don't yet have the shields to do so. So, you know, the big inflatable shield, I use that for aero braking when I need to. So, we're gonna use the asparagus staging on this one. There we go. Now let's just rearrange the staging. U2 will be disconnecting, U2 will not. And when all of these start, it should be marvelous. Right, so Duna Science Lander ship. There we go. Failed editor checks. Yes, because we have too many parts, but we don't care. Alright, let's start the simulation. There we go, look at it go. Well, the thrust to weight on this thing is ginormous, so clearly I've over-engineered it. I cannot talk for shit these days. I don't know what's going wrong with me. Everything, obviously. Alright, so we are going up ever so carefully, and as you can tell, the rocket is performing beautifully. I mean, this is a simulation. Normally I don't simulate everything, I leave some part of randomness to be fun, but you know, with the transfer windows approaching and these things take time to build, I don't want to miss the opportunity to launch the vehicles, so I think a simulation would be, you know, a valid thing to do. That thing being said, okay, first set of boosters detached. Beautiful. Bye-bye. And we will be going for 100 kilometer periapsis and apoapsis, of course, so, you know, going as always in the right direction, I guess. Right. There we go, and now let's just coast to the apoapsis where we will be circularizing. Now, note at this point, I'm not doing, I'm doing a couple of verifications. First, that the rocket is stable on ascent, which clearly it is. Second, once we get into the orbit, that we have enough delta V to reach Duna and Eve, including both transferring there and not aero braking, but, you know, regular braking maneuvers. So, or what do you call them? Orbital insertion maneuvers, I believe. So, if my math is correct, we will be performing this on the 7th and 6th stage, meaning that we should dump these big side boosters and just have the tall rocket going onwards to, well, ejecting from Kerbin. So, burn in 3, 2, 1, ignition. Look at that wonderful plume provided by the waterfall mod. I just love how it looks. Amazing, isn't it? Right, stage. And the other two side boosters are going away, and they're gonna be splashing down somewhere in Kerbin if they don't burn up in the atmosphere at first. Which I think would be a good way so that we limit our, you know, space debris. Now, thrust to weight on this one is still significant, it's 1.7, however, of course it takes time to get inserted into orbit. So now the next test will be the communication antennas, and that's something that I want to be confirming, that we will have the connectivity even at the altitude of, you know, Duna and something like that. So basically this is to test the communications. I mean, the worst thing that you can do is you plan a mission, it leaves the Kerbin solar system, and it leaves your radio area coverage. That's why we needed to build all this communication network around Kerbin, long-range communication satellites, and provide one of these communication satellites here as well. So, activate. There we go. And let's extend the solar panels, at least on the top satellite, because, well, that one will be launching first, and we need to be able to power ourselves during the entire trip to Duna. However, we will not be going right now to Duna in this simulation, because what would be the fun if I did everything? So rather than doing a full-on trip to Duna, I'll just gonna go and see that I have enough oomph to get to Duna, which I clearly should have. I mean, 6.9 thousand. Duna should be at the time of when we scheduled the burn around 1.8 thousand roughly. If we count also the orbital insertion, it should be up to 3 at most. So clearly we have over-engineered this, you know, bananas. However, okay, now we have pointed this to Kerbin, so some satellites should be picking up the connectivity. And right. So now I'm thinking, rather than doing anything, you know, particularly elaborate and smart, I'm just thinking I'm gonna go and I'm gonna burn prograde. Let me just see, how are we positioned? We are, okay, we are retrograde at the moment. So we can actually just accelerate time a little until we get a little bit more prograde. Oh, and we have almost caught up with the, you know, space station. Haha, isn't that wonderful? All right, so now we'll just point our rocket, you know, orbit prograde, and then I'm gonna be kicking off the burn and just check how far do we get. So, like I said, this is simply a verification, and this episode was mainly around building such a craft and testing it to ensure that when the transfer window hits, we already have everything prepared and the vehicle will be sitting on the launch pad. So when the right moment comes, we just ship it off. Of course, I will not perform and simulate, you know, landing on Duna and relay and everything, because in the real world you would want to simulate these things and you would want to have, you know, some sort of at least, you know, electronic or whatever verification of this. However, that one we're just gonna, well, we're gonna kerbal it. Alright, so that thing being said, I have hit the acceleration, and as you can see, we are extruding our apoapsis, and pretty soon we should be getting out of the kerbin sphere of influence. And now we have apoapsis around Duna, and let's just push it a little bit further just to make sure that even in the worst case we still have connectivity. Maybe I should push it up to Joule. Who knows? Okay, so that thing being said, we're gonna do the escape now. Let's time accelerate this. Like I said, this is verification. We don't need it to be pretty, we just need... oh, sorry. The batteries are almost empty. Oh, that's for the moon scansat. Well, you know, it's okay. Batteries recharge, system back online. Relax. Good to know, thank you. Now, that thing being said, our time acceleration is, we're kind of, you know, pushing it just to see how far we can come. And look, we are already, it doesn't seem that we have the connection though. Okay, maybe then the area cone is too narrow. Okay, now we have it. Okay, so if I... No, now we don't have it once again. Ain't that peachy? Yeah, but we have the local control actually. This probe is also semi-AI intelligent, so it may have already some sort of control. Alright, so I'm just thinking let's do an additional burn and let's check that we will have still the antenna coverage further out. I'm just curious now. This is a computer simulation anyway. You can think of this as overriding the simulation parameters. There we go. Yeah, 75 gigameters. Should be plenty, so... Okay, now we are extending it all the way up to Joule. Almost. Alright, I'm just trying to... Oh, we have the alarm, KCT launchpad complete. So our launchpad will be upgraded. We have put it so that we can actually launch this thing, because remember, we had failed editor checks because of weight mainly. So that's why I wanted to upgrade the launchpad, so that everything can be ready and we can really launch this bad boy. And look at it, now we have again connectivity, because you need to get far out, because these directional antennas have pretty small cones of coverage, so I think that was the problem here. Let's see. Okay, now we are already talking almost joule distances. Well, no, not really. Now, hopefully when it extends, this should be ultimate test to see if we can get our craft on one side and the kerbin on the other side. That should be plenty enough to cover pretty much everything. Alright. Okay, tell you what, honestly I'm convinced. Now let's do a final test. I just want to make sure that we found prograde and that we can stage this bad boy. And then we have 3.8 thousand. Okay, look at this cryogenic engine. And it works, no problemo. Alright, so that would be even 3.7 thousand. We have more than enough delta V. Alright guys, tell you what, I'm actually pretty satisfied with this little, probe that could as is. I don't think we need to do any modifications, but we should rather put it in production. So, that thing being said, I think we should probably get back to the VAB and wrap this thing up. At least that's my, idea. So, let's terminate the simulation and let's get back to this vehicle assembly building. So, right, let's put this into production. So, shall we? We have Eve and Duna science lander ships that are being built. And guys, I think it's time that we wrap it up for this episode. We will be launching this in future ones. Thank you very much for watching. This is GrunfWorks, signing off.